What is good, fellas? French Fry Warriors here to discuss about the newest chapter of Records of Ragnarok, being chapter 83. Like usual, you get this one and only spoiler alert, and subscribe to lend me your energy to stop the evil forces from destroying our precious planet.
Fellow Earthlings, please listen! We need your energy now! Raise your hands up! I beg of you!
Now, with that out of the way, onto a quick recap. Last time on Records of Ragnarok, we are shown that Apollo didn't really take Leo's blow well at all and was even brought to his knees. As he attempts to rise, a huge gash is evident on his face, and Leo advises that Apollo should just give up and not embarrass himself further with that injury. Apollo disagrees and actually believes he is the most beautiful since he's now setting his soul ablaze to beat Leo. The gods, however, are calling his bluff on that one, but Ares comes to his defense and leads us down to a flashback where the Greeks originally thought Apollo was someone who looked down upon on humans. However, we later learned that that's not actually the case, and it's proven through our boy Python. Python was originally a monster who attacked human villages, until one day Apollo pulls up on Python to confront him about beating Ares soldiers. Python sees that this is a great opportunity to prove himself, but in the end gets one tapped and wants to go again. Here Apollo states to try again tomorrow, and for days on end Python kept losing. Eventually, out of curiosity, Apollo asks why was he willing to go so far, and he replies by saying he was oppressed for looking like a monster both in Valhalla and on Earth. But when he looks at Apollo, someone who's beautiful and is loved by all, he can't stand the thought of losing. My man responds by saying that Python is beautiful not only in his appearance, but also in his determination to set his soul ablaze to prove a point. Apollo sympathizes because originally he was never recognized and was only recognized after intense hard work and dedication did he eventually become successful. Apollo finishes by spitting some facts, stating that those who are aware of their weaknesses, those who are willing to change and improve, and those who truly know themselves are truly beautiful, like our boy Python. This convinces Python to change a new leaf, and he once again vows not to lose, and Apollo admires his beauty. Later on, Python began to help the human settlements, building a temple, and inscribes onto it that if you truly know yourself, then you can surpass yourself. Apollo vows that in order to stay beautiful, he must set his soul ablaze. Leo admires his confidence and also vows to murder him with everything he's got. Finally, Apollo acknowledges that Leo's last attack was actually beautiful and is ready to set both their soul ablaze until one dies out. Will his soul overpower the sun god, or will Leo be incinerated by Apollo's blazing soul? In this current chapter, we are first shown that Apollo begins to untie his gauntlet, puts his fist together, and triggers a bright light that not only removes his gauntlets, but also has him summon a goddess statue called Moonlight of Artemis. Ares remarks at his beauty, while both Zeus and Hermes note that they haven't seen this technique since the Gigantomachia battle. The goddess statue then uses its threads to conjure up a giant bow capable of killing the giants, which already says the type of firepower this thing is packing with. Apollo materializes an arrow and deems it his supreme technique. Leo scoffs at his attack and gets ready to tank it, despite Brunhilde's warning about the attack. Within a flash, an arrow flies straight through Leo's right side, through one of the god's ears in the audience, and through the wall as well. Highlighting the potency of this technique, Hermes elaborates that the arrows are swift like light, making it the fastest blow in the god's world, and any human to be struck by it will die even before feeling the pain. The only person who is stated to be able to tank the arrows is the chief god himself, Zeus. Leo doesn't seem to be doing too well himself, and Geralt advises to switch back to the defense shield. Apollo admires Leo's tenacity and fires another shot, Leo's able to deflect it, but Apollo continues to fire a barrage of arrows, most of which pierce through Leo and some audience members. Leo notes that he has to be cautious as he's about to pass out. Geralt starts to worry about the invisible arrows. However, Leo reassures her that he'll just knock them away. Apollo commends Leo for enduring the pain and suffering and offers to end it by shooting an arrow straight for his head. Not wanting to let it end, Leo reflects it straight back at Apollo, injuring his right arm and preventing him from drawing the bow. It was questioned if Leo could see the arrows now, but Zeus disregards that idea by stating it was simply Leo's instinct and intuition from being in countless hellish battles that enabled him to deflect it. Now, with both fighters at their limit, Leo gets mad that Apollo would say stupid stuff like, "I'm not gonna let you suffer," and reminds him that he's King Leonidas and doesn't need such words from a god. Apollo, surprisingly in a way, imitates Leo and replies by saying that Leo is a twisted motherfucker and he hates him too. But he's still a little beautiful. Leo smiles and remarks that Apollo is finally becoming a man. Apollo then asks the same question he asks our Python friends, and that is, why is Leo willing to go so far? Is it for revenge against him, or for humanity's sake? Leo states that it's neither and simply his time to fight. Leo chooses how he wants to live his life and will only follow his soul. Beautifully said, my friend. This is the Sparta he's been wanting to achieve. Leo does one last oorah with his Spartan brothers, prepares for Geralt, and changes his shield to the shield of truth. Brunhilde explained that Leo plans to use his phalanx technique, a move with an unstoppable advancement that pierces through the enemy's formation like a spear. Apollo takes note of his enormous pressure and is grateful that fighting Leo will make Apollo even more beautiful. The statue then materializes a giant rope behind Apollo, where he himself will become the arrow instead. He intends to shatter the shield with a punch, and we have humanity's strongest shield versus the strongest arrow of the heavens. Both fighters take their last stance and begin to rush towards each other. Apollo's hand becomes a silver arrow, and Leo's shield starts to emit this flame-like aura. As they rush towards each other, both sides of the crowd yells for their fighter. As they finally make contact, it seems that Apollo's arrow began to shatter, but sadly, in actuality, he managed to shatter Leo's Volund shield and punch a hole in his stomach on the right side. Before falling, Geralt tells Leo to deliver one last blow on his arrogant face, and despite landing the blow, it wasn't enough, and Apollo remains unfazed. Leo comments on Apollo always making that annoying face, and his soul starts to shatter. His supporters, his men, all began to shed tears and acknowledge Leo for being the greatest Spartan ever. Leo feels relief that Sparta is the strongest, and before completely shattering, everyone admires Leo's determination to go against fate and live his life however he saw fit. Apollo comforts the two by holding them as they fade away and lets them know that they were the peak of beauty in the most willful way ever, leaving Apollo as the winner for round 9. Wow, so that was a lot that happened in this chapter, and we are now brought to a score of the gods with 5 points and humans with 4 points. Honestly, I didn't expect the round to end this chapter, making this feel like the shortest round ever. Guess some least were correct. Anyways, I like Apollo's summoning of the Artemis statue. At first I thought that thing would start attacking Leo, but it seems it was more to create stronger weapons for Apollo. Speaking of weapons, Apollo really had the arsenal. Had some close range boxing gauntlets, he was nimble and hits hard, defense threads to reduce the damage, and a huge ass bow for long range. No wonder Leo had such a hard time. Similar to Brunhilde's comment, I would not have tried to tank such an arrow. Then again, they were invisible, which is even a bigger pain, but the fact that Leo tanked so many shots when only one shot was supposedly a one tap to kill humans shows how damn durable this man was. I wonder if he could scrap with Adamas Zeus potentially for a bit. I also found it funny that Zeus reassures us and was basically like, yeah, that technique is good, but you know, of course I can resist it. My dude, you're the chief god. I'd hope that one arrow wouldn't take you out. But yeah, my boy Leo got lit up, and I'm not gonna lie, I felt like it was a little absurd that he was able to deflect the last one right back at Apollo and coincidentally injure his shooting arm. Listen y'all, I was rooting for Leo all the way, but that felt a little off. I find it great that over the course of the match, Apollo began to pick up on some of Leo's traits, like foul language, and use that in a way to connect with Leo. As you'll see towards the end of the chapter, Apollo really isn't that bad as he seemed when he was first introduced. He really grew on me, not gonna lie. His resolve to always wanting to improve and wanting to satisfy others really resonates with me the most, and I hope we get to see more of him later. Leo's conviction to live his life how he pleases is also one of the most badass moments of the chapter, loving that "f you, I live my life how I want to" mentality. That final clash between the two was marvelous. When I saw Apollo attacking with his arm, I thought he was going to take an L, but he managed to shatter the shield and pierce through our King Leo. Lastly, our boy Leo's death was sad, but at least he got that last hit off, proved that Spartans were the strongest, and even had a god comfort them in their last moments. That would make Apollo the first ever god to do such a genuine act for a human. I mean, Heracles did something similar, but he himself was dying in the process, and he was a demigod too. I'm livid that Geralt died because I really liked her, but at least neither her or Leo went out in a gruesome way. That's all I have for y'all today. Please subscribe and like the video for more future content. If you do, there is a 0.0000001 chance that Leo and Geralt's soul will be saved from Niflheim and will be resurrected. Please save her. Now, let's pay our respects for our fallen brethren and continue moving forward. Hope y'all have a great day. See ya.